Haley Stasiak, and we now have the head coach of the O'Connor Eagles joining us, Steve Casey. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Great to be on.
So you guys are coming off a Week 0 win, 52-6 over Mesa. I know that you get familiar with your team in the offseason, but what did you learn about them as they took the field and played somebody else and had such an emphatic win?
Well, we've been preaching to them since last November after our last game about what we wanted in our program, our pillars that we follow. And we've been preaching it. Our kids have worked extremely hard, have bought into everything we've done, and it was evident on Friday night by the way they played as a team and played with passion and relentless effort, the things that we preach to them on a daily basis.
Braylon Trice had a huge junior season for you on defense, and you return a few key guys there on the defensive side of the ball. How big is it to have a guy like Braylon and guys who have experience as you come into this season and get it going and kind of recover from the tough season you had last year?
Yeah, basically only lost 2 starters off last year's defensive team, so we have 9 kids back, and with Braylon obviously being the first Power 5 kid from O'Connor, it gives us a lot of things we can do. And, the funny thing is he was sick, so he didn't play much Friday night, which was good to see other kids step up and play the way we needed them to. But we've got great leadership. We had a lot of sophomores play on defense last year. They're a year older, a year smarter, a year bigger, and it was evidenced by the way they played on Friday night.
In that win against Mesa, it looks like you had a lot of big plays through the air. What can you tell us about this O'Connor passing game this year?
Well, we've got some explosive kids on offense, which we didn't really have last year. We were more a possession-type throwing team last year. We've got some kids. We feel like we have 3 or 4 kids that are capable of catching a short play and making it big. They can also get vertical. And then Ethan Muller, our quarterback, has worked extremely hard in the offseason. He's definitely the leader of the offense, and they follow what he does. He's such a great character kid, and he had a really good game on Friday.
With a big win to start out the season, how do you kind of keep these guys even-keeled, not getting too high as you head into the season because there's still a lot of football left to be played?
Well, that's what we told them. One game doesn't make or break your season. Obviously, a win and the type of win we had sets the tone for what we've been talking about all off season. But the worst thing that can happen for us is go over and not produce or play the way we're capable of playing against Basha. Basha's got some athletes that really worry us. It's a good matchup. We think we match up well with them, but we do have to worry about some of the kids we have to contain. So been preaching all week that, last week's over. We got to move forward. Each week is a challenge for us, and we look forward to going over and playing them.
Your son Brant Casey is on the coaching staff this year. Just what does it mean to be able to coach with your son, who was such a successful linebacker with Saguaro a couple years ago?
Well, it's a funny thing because one time last year I looked on the sideline, there were 4 of my sons standing there coaching our kids up, and it was just neat to see. I'm blessed to be in a situation I'm in, having a young kid who was very successful on a very successful high school team, be able to bring some of that to our kids, knowledge of what it takes to play together, what it takes to win championships, and then he brings that young mentality, toughness that he had as a player to our kids, and our kids really respond to him well.
Looking at this matchup with Basha this week, you mentioned that there's going to be a couple players that you're expecting to give you some trouble. What's got to be done by the Eagles to come out 2-0 after this Friday?
Well, we're just going to hope we come out and play as a team, play selfishly that we've been talking about. Care about the guy next to you, play for him, do your job, win more one-on-one battles than you lose, and usually if you do that, you come out at the end of the game, you usually come out on top. So hopefully we'll go out. I mean, obviously we had 5 turnovers, which was huge. We got 4 interceptions and stopped Mesa on a 4th down play deep in their own territory. We had short field position a lot of the night, which is a tribute to our defensive staff and how our kids came out and played. And again, if that can happen, if we can control the line of scrimmage defensively and rally to the ball, then good things are going to happen.
Good luck for the rest of the year, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us on.
That is Steve Casey, the head coach of the O'Connor Eagles, and like we said, coming off a big 52-6 win last week against Mesa. And this is going to be a fun matchup, I think, for O'Connor and Basha, 2 teams that I feel like are definitely on the rise. When you look at O'Connor defensively, they return 5 of their top 6 tacklers, and leading the way with Braylon Trice, who's one of the top guys in the state, getting recruited left and right by a lot of big-time programs. And then on the other other side with Basha, you have Chris McDonald and that wide open passing game for Basha.
Well, and Basha is coming off a big win too. So these are two teams that have had great starts to the season. And as I asked Coach, how do you keep these teams even keeled? Because you come out with big wins like that. I mean, they were shutout big wins.
Yeah.
So you have to keep that team. You have to keep your guys just. This is a new week. This is a new game. It's going to be a tougher team this week. And, yeah, Basha's got some guys. They've got Connor Fellon at quarterback, Cole Lundberg. He's got to watch in the backfield, and then Ty Sifferman as well in that receiving core. So some key players for Basha to keep watching out for.
A lot of really interesting stuff here as we head to week 1. Coming up next, we have Queen Creek head coach Travis Sherman joining us. They have another big game up against Chandler. That's coming up next on the Friday Night 360 AZ preview show.